got to be the first time out on this thing, and geez, it must be 2 months. It's got to be 2 months. It's kind of insane. I've said it 100 times already, and I'll say it again. The reasoning behind it is sound. I really want to get out and ride in the evening, but I also really don't want to miss bedtime. So now that she's all tucked in for the night, I figured now's my time to get out for a quick little run. Nothing too extravagant. It'll probably be under 100 kilometers by the time it's all said and done. But again, just to make sure that, you know, this thing starts and put a couple miles on it now and then. Not good to let things sit. Well, since the last time I ventured out, I can't even remember what situation I was in with that VFR. Things are finally starting to look up with it anyway. I went through a whole song and dance with it where I almost sold it, but the lovely folks at Service New Brunswick had to screw that up. Had a signed legal document, the registration for the bike, from the owner, saying the bike was sold. He took that to Service New Brunswick and they said it was no good. They wanted some sort of handwritten receipt for it, a bill of sale. Even though that is useless. I usually bring a bill of sale with me when I buy a bike, just to give them an idea of what I paid for it, or at least what I say I paid for it, which is why they never pay attention to them, and they are quick to point out that they are not legal documents. They're basically not worth the paper they're printed on. But they told him they wanted one, so he got it. He shows up again, presents a bill of sale, just happens to get the same damn woman at the counter from the time before. She goes through the motions like everything's fine, it's gonna work. She gets him to fill out all of his information on the back of the registration in the seller or the buyer portion of it. So he fills out his name and his address and all that jazz. And then she tells him it's no good and it won't work because she's somehow not happy with the previous registered owner's signature. She doesn't like the way he signed his name, apparently. So she waits and makes this guy ruin the registration before telling him this. So he's written all over the registration, it's now void. He's rightfully so fed up. Before even telling me, I didn't even realize the registration was all screwed up at this point. He just asked me, can I have my money back? He's like, I'm tired of this. So I said, you know what, fine, come get it. I figured I'm gonna go put the bike in my name, and then we'll sell it from there, we'll deal with it from there. I didn't want to put it in my name because I didn't expect to own this thing, right? I was just gonna repair it to the point where it could run again and be back on the road, and then have the person I sell it to put it in their name. It floated around for a few years in the previous owner's name because the bike just didn't run. Nobody wanted to pay the cost of transferring it into their own name until they knew it was going to run. So once I done that, it was time. Anyway, so now I'm left with a void registration. Now, a friend of mine owns a dealership, and I had no idea. I totally forgot that he may have been able to help me out with this. Only thought of it after the fact. So before any of that, I figured it's time to go on the hunt and try to track down this previous owner. So good old Facebook is still good for something. Found him on there, started creeping around like a stalker through his profile and found pictures of him with the bike from like 2015. So I started sending him messages, and he had a couple of public posts, so I commented on those trying to reach out to him, but apparently he never uses Facebook. So this was, you know, a couple of weeks went by, I didn't hear a thing from him. So finally I'm like, I'm gonna have to go into super stalker mode here. So I started looking through his pictures again, and I noticed there's a woman in the pictures with him that most likely is a significant other, and she was tagged in them. So I'm like, okay, gotta start sending messages to her. I was like, hey, I know this is weird and all, but here's the situation. So I talked back and forth with them for a while and let them know what's going on. Like, you know, realistically, I'm trying to help both of us here, because one, I want to get this bike transferred into my name so I can sell the damn thing, and two, he's probably going to want to get this bike out of his name, especially now since it runs. You know, it's one thing to have a dead bike floating around in your name, but whenever it's running, it has the potential to go down the road and kill someone. You don't want your name attached to these things. So in situations like this, usually you've got to get after someone and be like, hey, can you just sign this over to me, you know, sign the back of it and say I bought it from you, blah blah blah. Well, that's one thing, but I actually had to ask him to go to the DMV and reprint the registration, because the one that I had was now void and useless. So he had to go do that, and he did. And he even wrote up a bill of sale saying that he sold me the bike and everything and the price. And I, you know, I said, in the next couple of weeks I might be heading your way, because he actually lives like 2.5 to 3 hours away. I said I might be down in that area soon. I said I could maybe even organize it so I can meet up with you. And he's like, ah, no, I'll mail it to you, no problem. It's like, wow, that's awesome. So it showed up in the mail the other day. I just got to take the paperwork back to Service New Brunswick, and I'm sure get hassled by them too, again. So as it stands, it's not quite in my name yet, but it should be very soon. Oh, I guess they're working on this bridge or something, or maybe the bridge is not fit to have traffic going both ways anymore. I guess now there's actually potential that I'm gonna register 2 motorcycles in my name this week. That's a new all-time low. But I suppose when you already have 5 motorcycles at home, you can't start asking questions once the 6th one shows up, right? Especially since technically this one isn't really mine. The next edition is going to be a little CRF 50 with some training wheels for the little one. I didn't really have any plans to pick up anything like that for her at this point. She's still really young. She's only like 2.5, but it's actually my cousin that's selling it. It's a pretty good deal, pretty good opportunity. Pick it up now and just put it away till she's ready for it. I figure I'll get it ready to go this year and park it over the winter. Then maybe come springtime we'll get her some riding gear for Easter and start practicing. She's already got a little Strider balance bike she's practicing with, doing good. I let this bike sit so long now in between rides, I get a little bit paranoid when I get out on it. Like, is it working the way it should? Are things starting to degrade just from sitting around? Like, I'll be decelerating and coming up to, you know, like an off ramp or a light or something, and while I'm downshifting I might hear a little pop come out of it, you know, like, which is normal on a lot of bikes. And I'll just try to remember, like, did it do that before? Well, I wasn't kidding. Short little romp. Already coming back into town. Take a little cruise through town and see if any of the regulars are out. I think even the regulars are becoming not as regular anymore, though. I guess if you stuck around this long, you get to see a little bit of post-sunset. That's a good place to end it.